What's up guys, Double G Bassin here, back with another video. And today, we got another top 10 video. But today, we're gonna be looking at the record fish caught for 10 different freshwater species. And I got a lot of good advice in my last video to leave the pictures up a little bit longer. So I'm gonna be working on that in today's video. So as usual, let me know in the comments if you guys notice anything that I could improve on or that I'm doing well on. I love to hear both. So thank you for all the advice on the last video. And I hope you guys enjoy this video. Let's get right into it. Coming in at number 10. In 2010, Andrea Zaccarini was fishing the Santa Isabel do Rio Negro River, located in the Amazon rainforest region in Brazil. He was fishing with a topwater lure known as the popper, which is also very popular here for smallmouth and largemouth bass. He is a very skilled fisherman for this species of fish. He is native to this country and he fishes this river all the time. But when this fish came up and bit his lure, even he was shocked and surprised. This was a 29-pound speckled peacock bass. And surprisingly enough, when I learned this, I was shocked. It only took him 3 minutes to reel this fish in. My guess is due to his adrenaline from seeing that massive fish come up. He was just reeling that sucker in. Now, a little fun fact about peacock bass is although they have the name bass in their name, they're not actually a part of the bass family. They're actually a species of cichlid, like the ones you see in aquariums and stuff. That's what they are. So I was shocked when I learned that. I never knew that. If that name sounds familiar, that's because the Florida Fish and Wildlife introduced peacock bass into their canals to control the other invasive species that they've had there. And it's actually one of my favorite freshwater fish to catch down there. It's a blast. They're so pretty too. Pretty these guys. There we go. Miami peacock bass. Look at this beautiful fish. Oh, but if I ever caught a 30-pound peacock bass, I would fall over. It'd be over. And coming in at number 9, in 1985, Les Anderson was fishing the Kenai River in Alaska, which is a very popular fishing destination for king salmon. Anderson's been fishing this river for over 40 years, but on this morning in particular, he had the catch of a lifetime. He was throwing a spin and glow lure, which is kind of like a spinner, but it glows in the dark. And the fish that came up and bit his lure was a 97-pound, 14-ounce Chinook salmon. This fish was 5 feet long, and it had a 37.5-inch girth. Les said that he got this fish up to his boat 3 times, and it was pulling him all around the river.
Took line like crazy. I almost ran out.
And after a long 40-minute fight, he finally got the fish close and he just grabbed the line with his hands and started pulling it up to his boat where he was able to recover the fish. And he caught this on 30-pound test line as well. And to this day, it remains the biggest Chinook salmon ever caught with a rod and a reel. I mean, what a great catch that is. That is so cool. Coming in at number 8, in 2003, Nicholas Bonduelle was fishing the Congo River in Africa when he was able to reel in a 112-pound Goliath tigerfish. And if you know anything about the tigerfish, they look absolutely insane. They have giant teeth, perfectly made for hunting. There is one issue here. This is not the official IGFA record for this fish. This is just the biggest fish caught on a rod and reel with a picture, but it is not a certified IGFA record. But I have the record right here. So the certified IGFA all-tackle biggest Goliath tigerfish ever caught was caught by Raymond Houtmans, again in the Congo River. This was in 1988, and it was a 97-pound Goliath tigerfish. And he was using a Fenwick rod, a DWA reel, and he caught it on 10-pound tests. And he was fighting this fish for 65 minutes. Just imagine how pumped up you'd be to fight a fish for an hour and 5 minutes and then pull up an IGFA world record tigerfish. And that is also the iconic picture with Jeremy Wade in that fish where he's knelt down. Iconic picture. Coming in at number 7, in 2010, Gilberto Fernandez was fishing the Amazon River in Brazil, which is in South America. And he was bottom fishing using a whole dead fish for bait. And that fish must have looked extremely appealing to this big guy, because the fish that grabbed this bait was a 123-pound and 7-ounce red-tailed catfish. This catfish was 4.62 feet long, and he was using a fiberglass Sportex rod, a Fluger Contender G15L reel, and 20-pound Vexter line. And these catfish are absolutely stunning animals. If I ever get a chance, I would love to catch a red-tailed catfish. Just a beautiful and magnificent creature. And they can live anywhere between 10 and 15 years. And fun fact about Gilberto, he actually holds over 100 IGFA certified world records for fish. So if you're living in Brazil around that area, he wouldn't be a bad guy to make friends with. I'll tell you that much. Coming in at number 6, in 2024, so last year, this is the most recent one yet. Chad Williams was fishing the Lake of Ozarks located in Missouri. And he unexpectedly caught a fish that he didn't even know existed until he caught it. And this was a 164-pound and 13-ounce paddlefish. These fish can't be caught using traditional fishing methods such as lures or bait because they don't bite it. They swim with their mouths open and they filter out plankton and other microorganisms to eat. So kind of like a whale shark does. They'll swim with their mouths wide open and they'll filter in all the plankton and microorganisms, and that's what they eat. And you can find these fish in deep, slow-moving water in rivers and lakes. And these fish can grow up to 7 feet long, and they're one of the fastest growing fish that we have in the US, with some even growing 30 inches in their first year of life. And he was using a specialized rigging method to catch this fish. Could you imagine never catching a species of fish before, not even knowing what it was until you were fishing, and the first one you ever catch is the world record? That is ridiculous. I can't even believe it. My mind is like not working right now. That's awesome. Good for you, Chad. That is so cool, dude. And we have officially reached the halfway point. Coming in at number 5. In the year 2000, William Tolf was fishing Lake Nasser in Egypt when all of a sudden a 230-pound Nile perch came up and grabbed his fire tiger Rapala, which is a kind of crankbait. And personally, that is my favorite colored crankbait to use for walleye. And this fight lasted for over an hour with this 230-pound Nile perch. Now I know what you're thinking. A 230-pound perch? That's ridiculous. When I think of perch, the first thing that comes to mind is the yellow perch, which is what we have here in Wisconsin. So to think that there is a species of perch out there that can get up to 230 pounds, probably more than that, I mean, that is insane. That's crazy to think about. Now, a little interesting fact about the Nile perch is in 1954, they were introduced into Lake Victoria, but it was a secret, unofficial mission, and that had major devastating consequences on the lake. Because introducing such a massive predatory fish into a body of water, it wiped out and made hundreds of fish species go extinct. In my opinion, it was not worth losing hundreds of other fish species just for this one fish. But still a really awesome and impressive fish, and Williams was an absolute giant. Coming in at number 4, in 2010, Alessandro Biancardi was fishing the River Po, which is located in Italy. And this river is super famous for producing giant Wels catfish. And my favorite thing about these catfish is you don't need to use live bait to catch them. They're the only large catfish species that will actually chase and bite lures, artificial lures. Alessandro was actually using a shad swim bait when a 9.35 foot Wels catfish came and smoked that swim bait. This fight lasted for almost 40 minutes, and all Alessandro had was a small John boat, and it was pulling him all around the river. He said once he realized that he had a monster on, his adrenaline started to go crazy, and he said he was on the brink of absolute panic because he didn't want this fish to get off. And I know exactly how he feels. And although he did not get a weight on this species, the IGFA introduced a new record, which is the catch and release length record. And Alessandro opted to not keep this fish, and he released it. And so at that moment, he claimed the IGFA catch and release length record. And while he was trying to get this fish into the shallows, he got out of his John boat and he realized that he forgot to anchor his boat. So it started floating down the river, and he had to jump in the water and swim and go retrieve all of his gear. And he caught this fish at his first spot after only a handful of casts. What a legend. Now the IGFA weight record for a Wels catfish is 297 pounds and 9 ounces, caught by Attila Zedley. So just some absolutely monster catfish. Those are my favorite kinds of catfish by far. Just an awesome, incredible species. Coming in at number 3. In 1991, Captain Kirk was fishing in Cold Spring, Texas, when he caught a 365-pound alligator gar. And this gar was 9 feet and 6 inches long. Now, Kirk is no stranger to catching these alligator gar. He's caught 6 of these fish that weighed over 300 pounds. And he says he catches 1 to 6 gar every year that weigh over 200 pounds. He actually started his own charter of alligator gar fishing guide trips in 1999. And these incredible creatures can live 50 to 75 years. And coming in at number 2, in 2010, Jacob Vanier was fishing in the jungles of Ecuador when he caught a 339-pound and 8-ounce Arapaima. This fish was 9.6 feet long and was 55 inches in girth. And he was using a WFT International Ocean F-Rod with a Ryobi Safari 5000 reel with a WFT K6 strong line that had a live bait fish tied onto it. And he fought this fish for over 2 hours. That is an absolutely massive fish. And now, the reason why I have this at number 2 instead of number 3, because there's actually a bigger Arapaima that was caught. But this is a fly fishing record, and it is not actually in the IGFA record book for some reason. But it is a certified fly fishing record for Arapaima, which is actually way more impressive in my opinion. So in 2015, Richard Hartz wanted to set out on an adventure into the jungles of Guyana, and he sure found that adventure. Because after a while of casting with his fly rod, he hooked into a 415-pound Arapaima on a fly rod, which is absolutely ridiculous. He was using a Sage Salt Series 16-weight sailfish rod with a Tibber Billy Pate tarpon reel and a 6-foot leader with a 100-pound monofilament with a 7-inch Peacock bass color streamer. And he fought this fish for over 20 minutes. And he caught it right from the bank. It was a 13-foot fish. And to get that thing in 20 minutes is actually really impressive, if I do say so myself. So yeah, that's why I had to put that at 2 instead of 3. Hope it makes a little bit more sense now. And last but not least, this is the biggest freshwater fish ever caught on a rod and reel. On July 9th, 1983, Joey Palota was fishing the San Pablo Bay in California. He was fishing with 80-pound test monofilament line, a size 7 hook with a sliding sinker to keep his bait near the bottom. And he was using a whole shad. And that shad must have looked very good to this fish, because a 468-pound white sturgeon came up and ate that fish. And he fought this beast for over an hour. And people witnessing this were in absolute shock and disbelief at how massive this fish was. This was a 9-foot sturgeon, and the girth was 60 inches. I mean, that is ridiculous. That is a massive fish. And records show that a 6-foot sturgeon can be anywhere from 15 to 25 years old. And some of these fish can even live over 100 years old. There was a 103-year-old sturgeon found in California not long ago. And the sturgeon is one of the oldest fish species on this entire earth. Alright guys, so as you know, I like to do a Bible verse at the end of my videos. And today, I have a very, very special one. So as you guys know, Charlie Kirk was assassinated on September 10th at 12:23. It's just a terrible thing. No matter what you believe, you can't kill somebody just because you disagree with them. That is evil. So I am praying for Charlie's family and friends. And as hard as it was, I'm also praying for Charlie's shooter and everybody that's celebrating Charlie's death. I am praying for you too, because Jesus says, forgive others as your Father has forgave you. If somebody hits you in one cheek, turn to him the other cheek. God is the final judge, guys, not us. We have no right. Let God handle it. Pray for them that they find the way and that they turn their hearts to Jesus. So, with all that being said, there's something that I saw that gave me chills and goosebumps. You remember how I mentioned that Charlie Kirk died at 12:23 p.m. The verse that I picked for today is John chapter 12, verse 23. It says, and Jesus answered them, saying, the hour is come, that the Son of Man should be glorified. Verily, verily, I say unto you, except a corn of wheat fall into the ground and die, it abideth alone. But if it dies, it bringeth forth much fruit. When a seed falls into the ground off of the plant and dies, what's going to happen to that seed? It's going to sprout, and it's going to make 10 times more fruit. What I've noticed is that when Charlie Kirk died, there is an absolutely giant revival going on across the entire world. Thousands and thousands of people are giving their life to Jesus. And it is truly amazing to see. There is people by the thousands worshiping and praising God in the streets all over. So by Charlie dying, thousands of people rose up and gave their lives to Christ and are boldly proclaiming their faith. And it is beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful, and it's amazing. So for that verse to match up, 12:23 p.m., John 12, chapter 23, to talk about when a seed falls off the plant and dies, what's it going to do? It's going to sprout, and it's going to grow a bunch of fruit. And what happened? Charlie died. Thousands of people rise up and gave their life to Christ. There's people that haven't been in church for decades that went back for the first time. There's people that never opened their Bible, who bought one and opened it and is reading it. There is people who never even thought about giving their life to Jesus, who surrendered and gave their hearts to Him. It's amazing. And that is how God will speak. You have to watch for those things, and you got to believe it. And I pray for anybody watching this who's a little hesitant, or if you're not sure, what can it hurt to try? He has His hand out with a beautifully wrapped present right in the middle. And all you have to do is grab that present. You have to believe in Jesus. You have to believe that He died on the cross and rose again, so that if we believe that He did that, we can spend eternity with Him in heaven. That's all I got for you guys today. Again, take this as you will, but what can it hurt to try, man? I really appreciate you guys watching and sticking around for this. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for watching. I leave for my elk trip in 2 days, so be ready for a lot of bang up videos, baby. I'm so pumped up right now. Hopefully we can get it done over there in Colorado. But that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And until next time, this is Double G Bassin signing out.